All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So I want to compare the Pixel 3 and the XR. This is the latest offering from both of these companies, and I think they both bring similar things to the table as far as basic, flat out, just use them phones. This is definitely the way it should be right here if you're considering Android or iOS. These two, especially iOS, they're all the same no matter which iPhone you get, but Android, you know, you get this from Google, and you get to see what stock Android should be like, or what Android in general should be like on a phone. No customizations to either one of these phones. This is just how they come. So I'm going to start with hardware and design. And you know, this is just my perspective on this. You can disagree, agree, whatever you want to do. I'm just telling you how I feel about both of these phones at this point. And these are both my daily drivers. So let's get into this. So hardware, you know what, first I want to start with price. I want to do price first, because price is something that when you're looking for a phone, that's one of the main things you start asking about first. Besides the fact when you walk into a store and you see the phones, you're like, wait a minute, how much does this cost? Then that will determine whether you're wasting your time or not, or you're going to move forward. So price on these, this comes on a $799 and $899 for a 64 and a 128 gig, I believe. This one has three options, which is 64 for $750, 128 for $799, and then $899 for 256 gig. Now, technically on price, this one wins because you have more options and it costs a little bit less. A lot less, actually, $50 to $100 less. So price wise, even though they're both overpriced, the iPhone comes in at a lesser price. So you can battle in the comments if you want to. I'm past it already. Now let's go to hardware and design. Now the Challenger here has this single camera setup on the rear, and it's weird for me on this because it's going down, and that's something that I still haven't gotten used to yet. Something going down like that, you know, that's kind of strange for me still. And because I see other phones with it going across, and I'm still don't understand, but I guess that's the strangest thing about the back of it for me. And then just seeing one camera on it just goes back. But hardware, this phone is definitely sturdy. It feels like it could take a couple of hits, drops, everything. It feels like it can get banged up, it'll get chipped up, but it doesn't seem like it'll shatter really easy or you know, break really easy. So you got this big power button on the side. The mute and vibrate switch, that's something every phone should have. I really think that it should. You got the vibrate switch there, you got the volume rocker, nothing up top there. Again, that single camera on the rear with the microphone up under the camera. That's actually a microphone, folks. And then you got the LED flash, the stereotypical Apple branding. No headphone jack on either one of these phones. Then you've got the speaker and mic at the bottom. On the front here, what you can't see is all the proximity sensors and things and cameras up there that take care of facial unlock, and Face ID is what Apple calls it. On the front, obviously, you have that 6.1 inch display. It is the liquid crystal retina, whatever they want to call it. It's just a phone LCD display. Comes in at 6.1 inches. Crazy resolution of 828 by 1792. That's just what Apple does. It's a good piece of hardware. It's what we've seen before. This is like a combination of like three iPhones all put together. This is when I look at that, that's what I see. I see an iPhone 8, iPhone 7 Plus, and then I see the front of the iPhone 10. It's very strange, but it's doing it. The colors for this phone, it comes in red, black, white, blue, yellow, and coral, and it's a lot of options there. Now this phone right here, you get the Pixel design, the latest. This is the latest on how they're doing it. Now they have a single camera setup too, but I like the way this one looks a heck of a lot better for some reason. I just like it because the price is going across. I don't know, but this is a very, very, very nice setup here. I like the two-tone look here. It's scratched up. I like the two-tone look. The fingerprint reader is perfectly placed on the 3. You've got the power button and volume rocker here. You know, it's got some microphone up there. You've got Type-C on the bottom and the SIM trays on the bottom too, while it's on the side of this phone. No SD card slot on either one of these. And this one, they both have stereo speakers, but these speakers face you. Like there's one here and there's one here. On this one, there's one coming up here and there's one coming out the bottom. So that makes a huge difference in sound. However, I'm gonna show you how these sound. They both sound, they hit hard. I'll have to flip the mic around in order to do that, but nonetheless, these sound fantastic, man. Straight up and down, they sound great. I don't know. I think the Pixel sounds a little bit better because it's actually facing you. But nonetheless, they both sound good. They both have stereo speakers. Now, which one of these do I like better? Here's the problem with this. I like the overall package and feel and hand of this phone, and I love the screen and everything. By the way, 5.5-inch AMOLED POLED display, I'm sorry, coming in at 1080p. And this is a more narrow, this is 18 by 9 and this is 19.5 by 9. But this is still a wider phone. This actually weighs 194 grams and this weighs 148. And this is why I like the Pixel 3 a lot better for a daily driver, because I can reach all corners of the screen with no problem. And you know, this does have a 6.1-inch display, but if it was a narrower phone, it would feel probably just as great as the Pixel 3 does. This phone right here has tackled me having to do the two hands. That's over with the Pixel 3, and that's why I prefer the Pixel 3 overall for hardware and daily use and fit in pocket and hand. I would take this design right here over this one any day. This phone is heavy, even though, I mean, 194 grams. Now you consider that next to other iPhones and other phones, this is a heavy phone. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, I like both phones. These are both my daily drivers. But my main SIM card is in here, and then I've moved my Fi SIM card to this phone from the G7 because I really like Project Fi. Project Fi lasted me on a trip. It didn't break service at all. It jumped from all the different places. I never lost service on Project Fi. On the other hand, the T-Mobile phone did lose service multiple times through that trip. Now, let's get into features and options. Now, this is something I don't really cover very often anymore in phone battles or, you know, phone discussion videos. But this phone has Face ID and Face Unlock and all that. This phone doesn't. Even though this phone has 2 cameras on the front, I didn't mention that before, my apologies. 2 8-megapixel cameras on the front of this thing, and they have them there, they said, for, you know, ultra wide shot and a wide shot. So one is the ultra wide shot, obviously has, the secondary camera has no autofocus, but the regular wide shot does have some type of autofocus. But, you know, this is a matter of, is it really doing what it's supposed to do? Now, it does have a wider field of view than this phone right here, but the quality, you know, is, you know, the still shots and video are important to me. So I'll get into the cameras in a second here, but nonetheless, features and options, it doesn't have any kind of facial unlock, but it does have a fingerprint reader, and I can rely on body unlock and things like that. You know, those types of gestures. If I'm at home, it'll unlock automatically, things like that. Now, the biggest feature of the iPhone obviously is the facial unlock and other features that it has over Android, which are apps and things that it can do, like FaceTime. That's a great feature. iMessenger, fantastic feature. I love this. I love being able to play games within a message with someone. It's awesome. It's really good. So features and options, the iPhone, even though these two are pretty much basic phones, those are features and options that iOS has over every Android phone. You know, FaceTime is better, iMessage is better, you know, it's just what it is. And Face Unlock, while it's not the fastest, it's pretty decent. It's fast. It can read it in the dark. Everything is there. Now, cameras, I touched on them too fast, but let's go back to them. I feel like this is a split decision here. Now, we know that Google is having some issues right now with the Pixel 3 for audio. I've discussed that multiple times. I'm not going back to that. That could be fixed with a software update. But I think even if it was fixed, I don't think the video quality is better than the iPhone XR. The iPhone XR's front and rear cameras record fantastic. The rear is a wide angle lens. It's just a really good, the video quality is off the charts with the iPhone X. However, still shots, the Pixel 3 is killing everything out there right now. This rear camera right here for still shots is top notch. It is the best one for still shots that I have, period. End of discussion. No camera that I have can take better still shots than that phone right there. Now again, video recording on here, I've got unlimited recording at 4K until my memory runs out. And that 4K footage is stupendous. Yes, I said stupendous. It's fantastic. So cameras is a split decision. While this does not have great video recording, the quality of the videos are good, just not as good as the XR. And then on top of that, you know, you've got that problem with the audio and everything like that. But other than that, man, it's a mix, because this does have good quality video, just not as good as this phone. End of discussion. End of discussion. Performance. The iOS runs smoother than Android in most situations. And this phone has that 120 hertz touch sensing. It doesn't have 120 hertz screen, but it has a 120 hertz touch sensing. This though is blazing fast, man. When you scroll through the menus, you know, it's fast. iOS has that slow motion type feel. Make sense? So yeah, they're both flawless in performance in my experience. I mean, I really don't have any hiccups with either one of these phones when it comes to performance. Now, software is subjective, because again, iOS has things baked into it that I wish Android had. Like iMovie is something that I rave over. It's not the full feature iMovie from a computer that they offer, but you can still edit a full video. I've done it with the iPhone XS Max. Shot the entire video on that phone, did everything, edited it right on the phone, and uploaded it to YouTube. That's the one joy I like about using iMovie on iMessenger. I think, or on an iPhone. I think it's fantastic. It's great to be able to stay within the device, do everything, and then go on about your day. Android, you can do that, but it's not as seamless and it's not as intuitive as iOS with their software for things. So software is subjective. Now you're hearing this from a person who's pro Android. Actually, I prefer Android for the most part, because somehow I seem to get bored with iOS. But at the same time, now I have this truly stock in what's, you know, an Android phone should feel like experience, and here we are. I'm enjoying it. Strange, right? And maybe it's just this phone, but I don't know. Now, battery life is where the iPhone XR wins, not by a landslide, but it does win. This phone is giving me numbers like, oh, you've got 8.5 hours screen on time so far, and you've got 25-30% left. On the other hand, over here, it's more like 5.5 hours of screen on time, up to 6 hours screen on time. Pretty much is what I'm balancing out at, with just under a day or right over a day. So standby time is better on this phone. If I leave these phones sitting, this phone is going to still be standing by at 100 for at least 8 hours. I don't know. It's just what it is. I've done it multiple times. I'll take it off the charger, go to sleep, still be at 100 when I get up. This phone, on the other hand, while the battery has improved, it still sips 2 to 5% overnight if you leave it at 100 when you go to sleep and wake up. So overall, man, I mean, I like both of these phones. Obviously, I have both of them as a daily driver, but you know, if I had to choose one of these for 2 years and stay with it for 2 years, I know this phone will get at least 2 years of updates. However, this phone will get about 5 years of updates. But in the end, you know, which one could I live with? And I could live with both of these. I kind of got to call this a draw, because I'm doing it right now. It's hard to pick one of these, man. I like them both, but obviously I like the Pixel a hair better. I really do. You know, but if I give these to a consumer and sit them on the table, they're gonna see all. If I were to line up all the colors of this phone and all the colors and options of this phone, I think there will be more people grabbing iPhones. You know, that's just what it is. The A12 chip inside of here versus the Snapdragon 845 chip, the A12 is beating it up pretty bad. It's on paper, that is. It's beating it up bad. That's just what it is. It's beating it up pretty bad. So what can I say with that? You know, but for me, it's a hard choice to make. And you know, I like the stereo facings. I didn't do a speaker sample because I'd have to undo my mic and flip it around for you, and I don't want to do all that. Take my word for it. I've compared them. They both are extremely loud, and that's just what it is. No headphone jack on either one of these, so you're gonna be rocking with Bluetooth, or you're gonna be using a dongle, or you're gonna be using the headphones that they want you to use. So it's like that. They both come with the headphones that match. Like this has these Type-C headphones, and this has the stereotypical Apple headphones. And I will say this: I use AirPods with this phone right here. Very seldom do I actually plug up any kind of headphones anymore to an iPhone, because AirPods are awesome, straight up. I clown those things when I say, oh, people look funny with them in the ears. I clowned them, but once I tried them, I was hooked. I can walk up to any Apple product, put those in my ear, and it automatically links up. fantastic. And that's the type of stuff I'm talking about when it comes to integration and software. That's where iOS and Apple is beating Android, whether you want to admit it or not. But in the end, if you forced me to choose, nope, I can't do it, man. I just can't do it. I like them both. I like them both. So it's not a draw. That's not what I'm saying. It's not a draw. It's just that I can't decide yet. I haven't had either one of these long enough to pick a definitive winner at this point. I mean, we're talking about like 2 weeks with this one and 3 days with this one, or 4 days with it. You know what I'm saying? It's not long enough. But maybe I'll come back later and I'll give you another follow-up. Thanks for joining me in this discussion right here, man. It's your man Jay, and I'll give you more later on down the line. But hit smartphoneconversations.com for the latest post, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.